Welcome back to more of our Read Aloud. Today we are continuing on, and where we left off, we really are starting to get to know Keck a lot better, and we're starting to kind of see things unfold as far as Keck's life and where he's coming from, and maybe a little bit of clues to his background. It is still the beginning. We are still just getting kind of a grasp of the story and where it's heading, but we can definitely tell Keck has had some troubles in his past and some connection to cows. Because remember, he just yelled out for Dave to stop um, because he has to see this cow. And it brings me back to the cover, right? Because this author made this choice or illustrator to put this on the cover, and we're seeing a cow mentioned already early. So something to be thinking about as we go through this today. God with a wet nose. We park by the side of the fast car road. Walking through the snow is hard work, like wading across a river wild with rain. The cow is near a fine, wide armed, good for climbing tree. To say the truth of it, she is not the most beautiful of cows. Her belly sags, and her coat is scarred, and her face tells me she remembers sweeter days. My father would not have stood for such a weary old woman in his herd. And yet, to see her face in this strange land makes my eyes glad. In my old home back in Africa, cattle mean life. They are our reason to rise with the sun, to move with the rains, to rest with the stars. They are the way we know our place in the world. The cow looks past me. I can see that she's pouting, with only snow and dead grass to keep her company. I shake my head. A cow can be trouble, with her slow, stubborn body, her belly ripe with milk, her pleading eyes that shine at you like river rocks in the sun. An old woman comes out of the barn. She's carrying a bucket. Two chickens trot behind her, scolding and fussing. The woman waves. Just saying hello to the cow, Dave calls. Let me know if she answers, the woman calls back, and she returns to the barn. We should go, Dave says. Your aunt is expecting us. A little longer, I say. Please? I know cattle are important to your people, Dave says. Again, he tries to use my words. A man I helped to settle here taught me a saying from Africa. I'll bet you would like it. A cow is God with a wet nose. I laugh. We wait. The wind sneaks through my coat. My teeth shiver. I take out a glove and hold out my hand. At last, the cow comes to me. She moos, a harsh and mournful sound. It isn't the fault of the cow. She doesn't know another way to talk. She can't learn the way I am learning, word by slow word. I stroke her cold, wet coat, and for a moment I hold all I've lost and all I want right there in my hand. He's talking there about all he's lost, and it's really making me wonder what has Keck all lost. He seems to have a lot of sorrow kind of in his soul, and he's seeming to feel that in the cow too. And it's making me wonder, what has the cow been through? What do Keck and the cow have in common? Welcome to Minnesota. It's growing dark when I say goodbye to the cow, and we go back to the car to drive again. At last, we park before a brown building, taller than trees, its window eyes weep yellow light. Under a street lamp, children throw white balls at the not dead trees. Snowballs, Dave explains. A smiling girl throws one of the balls at Dave's car. He shakes his head. Welcome to Minnesota, he says. We climb out of the car. The snowball girl's face is red and her long brown hair is wet. Hi, she says. I'm Hannah. You the new kid? I'm not sure of the answer, so I make my shoulders go up and down. Catch, she says, and she throws the cold white ball to me. It falls apart in my hands. I follow Dave across the noisy snow. 2 times I slip and fall. 2 times I rise, pants wet, knees burning. Take it slow, buddy, Dave says. Tears trace my cheeks like tiny knives. I look away so Dave will not see my shame. How can I trust a place where even the ground plays tricks on me? Inside, we climb up many stairs. We walk down a long hall, passing door after door. Dave knocks on one of them, and behind it, I hear the muffled voices of my past. Much time has come and gone, but still I know the worn, gray voice of my mother's sister, Niatal. I hear another voice, too, the sound of a young man, a strong man. The door opens, and my old life is waiting on the other side. We're going to read one more chapter here. Family. I'm hugged and kissed, and there is much welcoming from my aunt. She's rounder than I remember, with a moon face to match, her black eyes set deep. My cousin, Ganwar, shakes my hand. I have learned about shaking hands. At the camp, they taught us how. Be firm, but do not squeeze too hard. Still, when Ganwar grasps my hand, we are like two calves in the clouds pretending we know how to fly. The man's voice belongs to Ganwar. He has my father's height now, though Ganwar is thin and reedy, where my father was sturdy with strength. His eyes are wary and smart, always taking the measure of a person. 6 long scars line his forehead, the marks of manhood. I watched Ganwar and my brother receive in our village ceremony. How jealous I had been that day, too young for such an honor. So obviously a part of their past, a part of their culture was to get cut along their foreheads and get scars, which was a marking of manhood, which probably sounds really wild to us because that's not something that we do. But to Keck and to Ganwar and to his family, this was pride. This was a big part about becoming a man to get those marks on your forehead. I try hard not to look at another scar, the place where Ganwar's left hand should be, round and bare and waiting, like an ugly question no one can answer. The night Ganwar lost his hand was the night I lost my father and brother. The night of men in the sky with guns. The night the earth opened up like a black pit and swallowed my old life whole. My aunt holds my face in her hands, and I see that she's crying. Sorry. I know her to be a woman of many sorrows, carved down to a sharp stone by her luckless life. She isn't like my mother, whose laughter is like bubbling water from a deep spring. I look into her eyes, and then my tears come hard and fast. Not for her, not for my cousin, not even for myself, but because when I look there, I see my mother's eyes looking back at me. So we're finding out some of the sorrow from Keck's past, right? We now know he lost his brother and his father. Um, he's calling it the night his world kind of like ended, which was also the night Ganwar lost a hand. So we can imagine some type of war going on in his village, something going on there that has given him a pretty hard past, and probably the reason he was in a refugee camp and now in America.